Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to another Last Epoch dev stream. As usual, I'm your host, Mike. Hello. Glad to be back. Feeling good. How's everybody doing? Welcome back to the dev stream. We're here to play video games and answer questions, and I'm not out of either. That's right. If this is your first time here, welcome. Glad to have you with us. I am a designer on Last Epoch, and I'm gonna play some Last Epoch and answer some questions about it for all of you. If you have a question for me, please put at Last Epoch Game in the chat so we know to answer, and it'll get funneled over to my fancy dandy sheet over here. And we stream for charity, so there's a charity above my head. They get the money from stream, which is cool. And I play under-geared characters. Have some fun. I may be switching out net for Dark Quiver, I think, here. We'll see. I really like Dark Quiver. We are playing, as you can see, we are playing Shadowrend, triggering multi-shot, bunch of shadows, triggering daggers. We'll switch to a more, like, uber capable build a little later on in the season. I just wanted to get some marksman time in at the start. I do have, so at the end of last stream, if you were here, last time on Mike Corrupts His Gear, we kind of borked 3 pieces in a row right at the very end of the stream. Yep. And so I've got a new belt with a new, I've got an exalted ready for it. I've also got an exalted ready for this. I've also got an exalted ready for another bow to do as well. The only problem I have is that I'm all out of keys. So as soon as we find a key here, we're going to do that. If we can find a key, that is. Ooh, nice. 1 LP on that. I'll take it. We got a few of those. We get a second one. Hopefully. The bow I have, I don't know if it's like 2 LP good. Might be. Oh no. Alright. Yes, so if you have any questions, please put at Last Epoch Game in chat, and we'll see if we can get those sorted. I'll be happy to answer them. Things about how we made the game, things you'd like to see in the game, wondering why we do something, why we don't do something. Got one here. Hey! With patch 1.4, you made Nemesis not give too powerful items while leveling. I assume you don't want us to be totally overpowered in the early game. However, now Omen windows give us T7 items even faster than Nemesis before. What went wrong? I think the Nemesis item. So the thing with the Omen items is that they are corrupted, and you're kind of like at the mercy of what it gives you. There's not really a big you can't really, there's not crafting to do afterwards. It's just sort of like you might get lucky in the campaign and get something sweet that drops, but it's not like specifically customizable to your individual build. And yeah, Nemesis, there's a bunch of luck involved with getting specific like mods on it or whatever, but you can still like craft on it after the fact, and usually it comes out with a lot of fortune potential anyways. Like one of the things it does. So I think having them be more random in the campaign allows for the moment of while you're leveling, like, oh, I just got a sweet item for I don't know, you're starting leveling wolves and you just get a sweet item that does a ton of damage with like totems or something. You're like, okay, maybe I'll switch to totems. And that like experimentation prompt from finding something really awesome and specific that you can't morph into something perfect for yourself. I think that was the primary goal behind still allowing corrupted T7 items to show up from Omen Windows. Also, just like Omen Windows, the new hotness. So finding the best stuff from the new hotness is great as well. But I do think we'll probably see that pulled back a little bit. I think like just in general we drop a lot of stuff. Like the volume of stuff that we drop is really big in general. So I'd like to peel that back a little bit. I think it's just all over the place. Really like getting some of these. We do like gold. Actually. Do we just come down here and get these? I love those. Love those guys. Over this way is nice too. Let's do this. Alright. Little discovery action. Awesome. Not really. We'll do it another day. Sorry, this has been asked a lot already. That's fine. Repeat questions are easy, which is great. But any plans for other ways to farm idols? More of an issue for COF. Yeah, this is an interesting thing. I think the key point here is when you're leveling through the campaign and you get into like early end game and you're starting to like flesh out your character and you're getting to specific pieces of gear and you're able to say like, okay, I'm only going to upgrade with a better version of this specific piece of gear now. For the most part, I think you're still looking at your idols going, dang, I wish these could be better. And that, yeah, like there is this lag time in like the time to get your main paper doll gear to 80% versus your time to get your idols to 80% is like double. And so I think that's kind of the big issue there. I think we are looking at COF in general with the way that you interact with the system. And right now I think it can be pretty lackluster with the way you interact with the system to try and force specific idol drops to happen. And so I think I think we're looking at ways to be more consistent with things you can target in COF without having to re-roll quite as much or at all. And so that'll allow us to allow COF players to more consistently use the COF functionality, like the maximum potential of it, to get the things that they actually do want, without having to spend so much time invested in the UI.
Easy, too easy.
I think I would like to see some sort of, I don't know, easy crafting. It's the wrong word to put it. Like way to get. How do I say this? I think I'd really like to see ways to get the sort of like baseline power out of your idols a little bit easier. So things like you're like, I need specific types of idols, but even if they're like really bad versions of it early on, that's fine. and getting to like that step of it in COF, I think is the part that if we were going to adjust like acquisition speed for idols in COF at all, I think that's where I'd want to focus it. Dang it, still one. Got a 2 there. Just put it over there. Come on. And there's always the chance that some other like system comes along and gives you opportunities to shake that up a bit too. Is game pausing in single player online something you could potentially add? I mean, potentially, yeah. There's always the chance. I'm saying there's a chance. There always is. If it was something that was reasonably feasible for our first dozen ideas and ways we wanted to make it work, it would have been done a long time ago. Like unless someone comes up with a groundbreaking idea that's out of the box and just something we never even considered before to make it work, it's not in the cards anytime soon. What was the logic behind making Temple Guardians harder? Doesn't this simply make alts that want to confluence and lower their corruption a lot more difficult spot? I mean, I'd say yes, it is. It was the point of easiness to the point of like, what's the point of it even existing, sort of thing. Frankly, that's what I'd be more interested in doing in general, is just allowing more free-form changes to corruption in general. I think we've really tried to put corruption in the game diegetically. So like having it be something that the character is taking an action in the game world, and that action in the game world is causing the game world to change. Not I'm selecting something from a drop down and that is like causing the corruption to change. More of a like, hey, I killed this thing and killing this thing causes the corruption to change. And we've been really focusing on making sure that made sense in the world. It was like part of the lore, it fit everything, and then like and all these mechanical and functional constraints to make it fit in the game world diegetically. I think may have hurt the system a little bit in general. I think we're a little bit more open to making that a little more of just like select the thing you want than we were before. Not quite sure how far we'll go down that path, but like more than before. We gotta organize. I know I'm terrible. I know. Get some XP. We should level up still. Hoorah. Hey Mike, happy Friday. I'm gonna need you to come in on Saturday. Just kidding. Don't worry, I almost always do. Just kidding. Question: the corrupted exalted items that drop seem kind of useless for anything mid and end game. I was wondering what the design plans for those are. We can't craft with them or on them. What are they for other than vendor trash? Yeah, I mean, I think that's part of what we were talking about earlier, with the sense that there can be some rare finds where it's amazing. Sometimes it's also just signposting what the system can do. So being like, oh my god, look at this sweet corruption that exists because I saw it on this item that dropped. Maybe I can get that on this other item by corrupting it. So like, it's partially it's a breadcrumb for the corruption system just in general. And sometimes it is hey, you get lucky, especially early in the campaign, maybe when you're still leveling, maybe when you're early end game. having those moments of like, hey, this is a sweet thing to try out. Even if it doesn't happen terribly often, I still think it's worthwhile to have. We need so many more of the woven echoes. Need memory amber. Merchant token. I swear those are in place the key drops. I feel like my keys are non-existent and my merchant tokens are going crazy. Alright. Another merchant token. Come on, let me go to Temple Sanctum and slam something. Gonna ask someone to come open it for me in a minute here. Alright. Hi, Mike. Awesome season. I love it. Thanks. Me too. But I feel like the corrupted armor items the omens dropped are a bit less exciting as I progress my character into the very late game. Is there something I'm missing, or do you just feel like there can be improvement on this? So this is a lot of the same dropped, very similar to the last question, really, but like the dropped items. And I think you're right. Probably the armor is in general less exciting, because there's, I think, less likelihood that it will be significant enough to like really shift the build. Probably things like jewelry are more exciting than like gloves, boots, belt. The class specific ones have a few things that are sweet on there. I don't know. Like part of me wants to almost try to force compatible affixes in the pre-corrupted things, and just drop fewer of them, where it almost feels like a curated item, but it's still random. So you would require a large amount of, I don't know if this is a good thing to do at all. It would require a large amount of like picking affixes that are good together. I don't think there's a way to really automate that. Check the entire database for all the things that are equipped and look for affixes that are shared the most, and then build an automated list based on that every week. Fast forward, the community gets together and everyone equips weird gear right before it happens, and the automated list that it generates goes crazy. I think I think there's room for just in general less items but better items. I think we get that like feedback a fair bit that people are seeing a lot of items drop that they don't necessarily want, and it feels bad. I'm not sure the best way to tackle that. In general, I would like to see less items drop, but I mean, in general, better. The problem, it's such a conflicting thing to the idea of like, here's a sandbox, make your own build, see what you can make work. Because if you start trying to force like, okay, we'll only put a throwing corruption on gloves if there's already a throwing affix on the glove or something like that. And suddenly, if you are trying to do a hybrid throwing melee build or something, it doesn't always. You'll have a lower access to those things. I don't know why I'm picking everything up. I think that's part of the reason why we get things like the imprint system as well, which is like part of what we were trying to do with it, was allowing people to like force more specific gear, so we could drop less of it in general. Which I think we'll find a nice happy medium there eventually. Okay, are there any plans on making crafting Reforge Primordial T8 Affix exalted items? Woo! Easier. The biggest issue is the lack of forging potential. It is tricky, and yeah, it's a big forging potential cost to do it. You're right. Maybe a rune or glyph that you can use once per item to add forging potential, but makes that exalt not slammable in unique to make exalts better, but not buffing legendary items. Yeah, I think you're on the right track in the sense that one of the reasons why we've been careful with fortune potential is that careful with fortune potential on exalteds is that if you have a way to like buff it up too much, or if you have a way to like replenish it endlessly, it does have a knock-on effect of buffing legendaries at the same time, which is not something we're needing to do right now. So like I like the idea behind it, and like the reason you're going that direction. I think that's smart. Don't know if we're gonna have anything like that.
He remembers you.
He remembers me. Ladder. Whoops. We were still set on our intro sound settings. Sorry. I usually have that cranked at the start so that there's music playing when I'm getting ready. And forgot to turn it down. My bad. One-headed sword. Oh my god. Have you enjoyed training this league? Yeah. This is your first time, right? No. Do you think you prefer COF or trade? In general, I think I more prefer COF in general. But I really like that there's a different dynamic and a different option to pick from. It's I don't know, I can't put my finger on exactly what it is about the difference that I like more. I think I just like seeing stuff drop. I think that's all it is. I'm just like, just really enjoy seeing stuff drop. Like I played, a buddy of mine and I played the recent, kind of recent now, ladder reset for D2R. And like having two characters that we just played together and didn't trade with anyone and did like a solo group bound sort of thing on two characters. It was a ton of fun. It was so much fun. I think that's kind of the vibe I get from like playing COF when like me and a buddy hop in, we both play COF, and it feels kind of like that without needing to like full on do that restriction where you can't play or do anything. You can kind of get the same feeling. I like that. Clear this out a little bit first. Just stuff everywhere. We do this, Omen? Let's get a question here. Could we please get different versions of the T-Rex summoning offhand? Probably mean relic. So it will be some creatures in the theme of our build, like bees, raptors, and far superior undead. Season 4 rocks. The like specifically the primordial. It's a relic, isn't it? I swear it's a relic. It doesn't really matter what it is. I think there's room for leave me alone. That's the quest. All right, we'll just stop here. We'll finish it. No, I don't think we would modify that item to have theming for wildly different things like that. I think that if we were gonna add in a different type of auto summoning minion for other styles, I think it would probably more squarely fit under like a different item. I think we could do it as the other option is having a cosmetic for it, like a thing in here. It's kind of weird putting that on a triggered ability. I don't know, that might be good though, right? A reply question, whoever wrote that in, or anyone else really. Who thinks who would want to do would you think it worked well as a cosmetic thing here, like in the skills where like it just said T-Rex relic? Is there anything in the works with re-rolling the amount of Weaver's Will on an item, sort of like re-rolling LP with the turtle? No, there's not. I do think that's a cool idea though. I think if you have I paused there because I'm thinking like, what happens when it's in the state of like partially completed? I think you would have to have no affixes on it already or something. And it would be cool where you can. Sorry, jump all over the place here. I think part of the issue is if there's a way to re-roll the Weaver's Will on an item, either before you start putting affixes on it or after. I think there's the potential for like every Weaver's Will of that type to become worth picking up, and we might see like you get that like item bloat where you're just picking up so many items because there's always a chance it could reroll higher. The opposite might become true as well, where you just have to keep one because you just reroll that one until it's as high as it can be and you start using it. I think it may also just like, does it just add another thing you have to roll on the item before you roll the item, before you then roll the item again? I don't think it would be like backbreaking or anything. The systems. How many unique characters have killed Uberoth this season, and how does it break down for each class mastery? Thanks, Mike. Well, if there's someone in chat who can answer that, I think there is. You know who you are. I would not hate at all for you to do that. Thanks, bud. Hello. Did you think about making a red ring, the red ring, a primordial? Yes, please don't hate me. We did think, yes, we did consider that. The like the TLDR of why not is it's too generically useful. It's kind of, it doesn't really force so it does have the sense of like it forces a theme in your gear of like attribute scaling, but it's kind of just too everything, you know, like it's not just your gear, it's your passives, it doesn't drive a specific theme, it drives sort of any theme. It's just a little too broad, I think, to really fit in the primordial design space. There's probably room there's a good argument for it to have been made a primordial, I think. And I do think it's a reasonable question. Oh, check Norris. I just saw you missed the answer to your question. Well, it is we are streaming to YouTube, so you can put it back up. You can look back at it on the VOD. Derek, are we pulling questions from YouTube as well? I don't know. Is it like, is it working? Are we pulling questions from there? I can't see the chat for YouTube personally. I probably could pull out if I. Up until a couple weeks ago, it wasn't working at all. All right. Hey, Mike. Does Rogue's passive Death's Door, where you take reduced damage while on low life, make your ward take reduced damage as well and you play low life? Yes. I'll double check the wording, but unless it specifically says damage dealt to health is reduced while you're at low life, yes. Death's Door. Door. Door? Door. Door? Low life, you take less damage. You have additional chance. Yes, this works. If you have a bunch of ward and the damage dealt to your ward is reduced as well. Yes. Hi, when y'all fix performance issues? All these years, game still runs really badly. I mean, performance is one of those things that we are always working on. I think we've improved it a ton. So there might be something specific in the way we're tackling like specific hardware weak points in our game that maybe your system is really heavy on certain points that are not the weak points of the game, sort of thing. Could be making it a little bit worse than we're experiencing it like right now, as you can see on live. I think the big thing we're working on right now, we're targeting memory optimization right now, big time memory optimization targets. Especially going to release on console in LEO, we have very strict memory budgets that we have to adhere to for that. And so yeah, we've been really dropping down the memory requirements. It's going great. But yeah, any chance we get to micro improve, like just micro optimizations, we take them, and then we also do have people that are constantly just profiling and finding the worst spot and improving it. But yeah, like if you've got like a ridiculously amazing video card and maybe just a really good CPU, it will feel disproportionately bad because the game is CPU bottlenecked, not GPU bottlenecked right now. So it'll feel like, hey, like my video card should be able to handle this, and yeah, it can. It's quite often why a lot of times people in situations like that have they'll report like, I turned the graphics down to minimum and it made no difference in the frame rate. It's like, yes, because the CPU is what's the issue there, and not that the CPU is bad, but more that the optimization is leaning too heavily on CPU, where just about any CPU would be struggling in certain scenarios. Just one still. But those situations are few and far between compared to what they were a year ago, even. Off that, did a lot of shards on it. Any plans to change normal monos to only require the quest echoes once per season? I think there's a desire to kind of readjust how Monolith progression in general works. So the adjustments to to this layout was phase 1. I think it went very well. We're still working on phase 2. And how you go through progressing from like early monoliths where you're engaging in still leveling, where you're like as low as level 50 usually by reasonable standards, or even lower with a lot of characters, and all the way up through till you're like into proper endgame where you're in your 90s. I think that whole progression is being looked at for sure, and that includes how you unlock empowered, especially on subsequent characters. Yeah. One thing I think is we've probably aired a little too much on the side of we don't want to let people get stuck in a situation where they can't progress, where they're like, hey, the game's just there's nothing I can do, there's nowhere I can go, there's nothing I can kill to progress, and I am stuck in the water, just stuck trying to kill something and I just can't, and hitting that wall without having somewhere to fall back to. I think it's something we've been a little too cautious about, and I think we can set up places to fall back to a lot more cleanly than we have been able to before. Any plans to change normal monos to... I'm curious if we will ever get the ability to keybind a self-cast something. For example, Blessing of Atera can be quite tricky to self-cast yourself, to self-target yourself, while there are minions everywhere on the screen, and I sometimes just auto-targets them. Yeah. It should, in theory, prioritize targeting... Atera's Blessing may actually prioritize targeting a minion because it has that minion buff associated with it. Usually we handle things like this in the skill trees where you can say where it like can force targeting just the player, or it always does something to the player. Adding in a separate binding for specifically self-casting a target thing like that is really tricky because we don't have it would, in order to force it onto the player and not onto anything else, we would actually have to change the casting style. So it would have to, like, so there's a every time you use an ability, there's a use type associated with it, and that use type kind of gives information to the the ability object constructor and the mutator that is figuring out like who's casting this, what stats to give them, what modifications to give them. Like, do I apply the skill tree? Do I not apply the skill tree? How do I apply? Is there certain nodes in the skill tree that I should ignore for this cast or not? And so the use type sort of will dictate what that is, and it's different for every character or every ability. But in order to force targeting on the player, it would have to dictate a specific use type in order to, so that the mutator would know to change its functionality completely. Because right now it doesn't actually, Atera's Blessing is specifically what I'm talking about here. It doesn't actually target. It doesn't know what it's, when you're casting it, it doesn't know what it's going to heal yet. You cast the ability, and it creates the ability at a location, and whatever the closest thing to that location is, Atera's Blessing latches onto, and that thing is what gets healed. And so it's actually the ability itself that's like finding something to grab onto once it's already existing, which is why it can prioritize certain target. Why it can prioritize mobile minions over stationary minions. So if you ever try to Atera's Blessing a totem with a wolf standing beside it, it'll almost always go on the wolf. At least it should last time I looked at it. And I think I don't know if the player has higher priority targeting for that or not. I think the minions might, because minions get a specific buff from Atera's Blessing. So if we wanted to actually say like, hey, this Atera's Blessing is going to attach to the player no matter what, we have to change that functionality on the fly, which we do all the time. For different things, but never from a specific keybind is the problem. So we like that specific keybind, we have to say like, whenever you press this button on this keybind, it forces a special cast of it instead of using a direct cast of it. And we don't have that functionality because the UI doesn't really know what type you're trying to use. It just knows that you're using it. All right, first of all, I've played since beta. That's so cool. My favorite game to date. Wow, that's awesome. Thank you. Any thoughts on making gold easier on COF? Yes, I do have thoughts on this. I love to hoard items and I always struggle with gold. I would even use COF points. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what my thoughts are on it is, I think the way we do, I think because the stash itself is unlockable character-wide, and because you are able to switch back and forth between them, between COF and MG, if we made COF have a big boost to gold generation in some way, there's a really big incentive for, there's a tipping point where all of a sudden it actually makes sense for Merchant Guild players to switch and to actually switch and farm gold on COF. And that's one of the big things we really want to avoid, is we really don't want players to be switching. And this is part of the reason why keys are worth so much less in the shop now, because it was, for a little while, it was really easy to farm keys on COF, and you just sell the keys on, you could farm them on COF, switch to Merchants Guild, sell all the keys, get a ton of gold, and you're good to go. It made COF mandatory for playing Merchants Guild, which is really not what we want. So I think in order to have to basically intentionally do that, where you give a gold buff to COF, I think there's two things to look at. One is looking at why are you doing that? So like, what are the big gold sinks that COF has access to, and do you want to instead give special bonuses to those actions through using up favor in COF? Or potentially, I think the other solution that we could look at is splitting resources. So having things like a COF version of this tab, basically. I'm lumping gold in here with this, and like, yeah. So I guess a COF version of this, or just COF gold even. You know, like have Merchants Guild gold and COF gold, and have be two separate resources. And then yeah, I think you could buff it. The other option is making the vaults like cheaper for COF or something like that. But it's so tricky to get that balance down. Because you have to balance each one of those individually, whereas you can just instead balance the gold generation as a whole and leave the relative value of those things stable for everyone. I think would be more consistent. All right. Hey Mike, did you get the Strixhaven MTG set today? I did not. I've got some on order though. Yeah. I've got a box on order that I'm gonna do a draft with some buddies at some point, probably not until the summer. Did also get this. You like cool weird Magic products. There's the original Mystery Booster. That was a present from a friend I haven't seen in a very long time. Also probably not going to get to open until the summer. And same with this Lorwyn box. I'm just gonna be like sitting on boxes, waiting for the summer to come along. Is it possible to make it so that enemies won't attack you while you are doing the Nemesis mechanic? We don't have a system that we can implement for that right now. I'm sorry. Or is it possible to put an invulnerable buff on your character and also disable skills while near the Nemesis to prevent exploiting the invulnerable buff? This is an arms race that I'm not prepared to enter. I think the goal is fantastic, and I would love to get something functional in there. But we don't have the tools for it right now. I'm sorry. Your fractured Templar skin in the support pack was an amazing look / style. Could there be more items like this in the shop? A single item / set in the future? It's totally possible. Yeah. Well, only my opinion in the style is subjective. This was one of the best skins so far. Yeah, it's kind of this is the gigantic skin. I totally agree. I think this is a sweet set, and I'd love to see more things that go with it in general, or like individual. Like we've got some things that this is celestial. It's a little different. I do have ballistics right there. Like a version that's similar to this sort of thing, you know. I'd love to see that pop up. I never use multi-shot, just equip ballista. I don't know why I never cast it though. Is there any reason to put anything here? Dark Quiver. I said I was going to consider switching to it anyways. Auto crits. We are doing pretty good in the crit category, but auto crits. Hey Mike, about the imprints, would it be possible to separate the imprints from the tree? Right now, the way the imprints in the tree are, you're forced to take the path to them, giving them the illusion of choice when seeing your tree and setting your tree and making it hard to spec into other content that's far from the imprints without losing their value. It is possible. It's totally possible to do. We have the technology. I don't think that's something we're super keen on at the moment. Having the imprints unlocked through the Weaver system. I do think there is some element of like, which one do I go for first? That is interesting. There is a little bit of a which direction do I take so that it's more optimal to get to the things that I do want to get to. So like I think there are some molding of your tree around that. They do push it in certain directions a fair bit. I'd almost like to see let's sit for a second and see if we can see a way to make it more interesting than leaving them on the tree. I think there's probably some maybe we spread the nodes out a little bit more and we make some of them mutually exclusive. So you have to dig a little deeper to get to them. The path to get to them is more customizable. And if you had to pick, if they're like on opposite sides of the tree, they were mutually exclusive, it would matter a lot less. Like if they were slightly different mechanically and on opposite sides. I think you'd be more interested in taking, like you take the ones that are closer, but sometimes if there's a really distinct difference in the power you're getting from them, you may want to split. Might not be that much more interesting, I don't know. I think in general we really like having them on the tree. We did just nerf them a bunch. Maybe it's not as big of a forced choice anymore. No. They got nerfed a little too much there. That wasn't the solution, by the way. That was a joke. Just to be clear, that's a cool item. Cool item. The like, not quite there. It's cool. Do you plan to fix stash search outcome tabs overlap with Nemesis egg, replacing, for the example, the default UI scale? Yes. Timeline, I'm not sure. But yes, that is definitely on the list. I brought that up on our internal comms a couple weeks ago, actually. There's a bit of a concern on double work basically happening, because that panel's getting a pretty big change. This is the stash panel. So not really huge on making making updates to it now if they're not quick and easy to do. I think it shouldn't be that bad. I'd really like to see it. I'm a little surprised we haven't done it yet. Are there any plans to add new Primordial items in the future? Updates to keep the Primordial feature a bit more fresh each season. Yeah, I don't think we're likely to see like a new one every season. But I could see some more showing up. Yeah, I feel like there's room for new ones to show up. I think there's room for old ones to no longer exist anymore. I think that the total volume of the pool can be too big. I don't think it is too big right now, but I think there's a world where we keep adding 2 every season for the next 4 seasons, and it is too big, definitely at that point. Let's see what's around here. The Echo Reward Imprint, bottom left Weaver tree, will always drop 3 times if you complete the stability checkmark 2-3, but it only holds armor, rings, amulet. This makes it the best node by far compared to the others. The others, when it procs, will only drop 1 item from imprints. Is there a rework plan to add weapons to the Echo Reward Imprint slot? No, nothing like that's planned at the moment. That is interesting though. I did not personally consider that, actually, that the because the change to this system did change that. Yeah, there is a disproportionate way to unlock them. There has always been like ways to interact with the game systems in order to make them drop more. I think that's important that that's possible, actually. I'd more prefer to look at ways to give like specific echoes or specific functionality that you can take in game to make the other ones trigger more frequently, sort of thing. I'd be more interested in going that approach for it. Just a general shout out to anyone who's if you've seen an idea here that you like, or you've written an idea down and I've commented on it, the best way to get it considered for actually being added into the game, telling me is good, it helps, but the best way to get it actually added to the game is to get it directly into our design meetings, is through the suggestions channel on our Discord. More stuff. I don't think we have anything that we like really want to push in right now. Not what I thought they were. Because yeah, just what we were talking about earlier. Like as soon as you do this, this needs to shove over a bit, like big time. Just put a smoke weaver in for fun. I don't know why I'm putting anything in there. It's basically just a free random rune of ascendance if you don't put anything in. I did empower that, right? It was just a drop, I think. Yeah, okay. Are there any plans to add more Venter's Gamble type uniques? I'm talking about uniques where the roll range have such wild range they can range from extremely powerful to actually detrimental. Anything like this would have, of course, have to be unaffected by the maximum rolls corruption. No, I think this is the sort of thing we do have items like this, and I would love to add more items like this. I don't think that it would need to be unaffected by that. So currently there is an issue with the rolls, with the maximize rolls thing, where it maximizes the value of the rolls, and even negative mods when maximized have the maximum negative effect, which like is an issue, I think. I think there's a world where you could set up the mod to be to have some special interaction with corruption, sure, that might make it not go crazy, but at the same time, like, that's kind of the fun part about the system, where there's a chance it can go kind of crazy. Like, there's so many posts of like, check out this Omni that I rolled. I think it's just awesome. You know, the maximum potential power there is no different than if the rolls started at like negative 25 each or something like that. When are you going to push for another item like Aaron's will, so I can have a full 8 so I can have 8 full-size golems? Ha! I hope you're having a great day, and thanks for all of that you do. I think 8 golems would be a little too much. Golems designed for not a army in a bottle, but rather this is my big smashy boy type vibes. Big stompy, green stompy. Are there plans to redistribute the blessings, by the way, the monos? Not specifically, no. But I do think there's room for it. Now there are monos with blessings that are not very useful, versus some monos having too many good blessings and making choosing one make you lose a lot of value, right? So I think there's like really each individual blessing just needs to be power balanced against every other blessing option in its own pool. If there is like one if two timelines have vastly different power levels of blessings to each other, it's not that big of a deal, because you're still going to get something from both. The most important thing is that the individual blessings inside each timeline are relatively like appropriately balanced with each other, so that there is a decision point there. I can see where you're coming from, that it feels like you're missing out on something awesome because the two of the awesome things are on one. I think a fair bit of that has to do with thematically similar blessings showing up on similar timelines. And then if you're going after, if you're like doing something in that category, having something thematically similar is often going to be good. Like if you're doing cold damage and you've got a mod that gives you a bunch of negative cold resistance, and there's a blessing that either gives you cold damage or cold resistance on the same timeline, because they're thematically linked through cold, they do fight with each other for power. And then you have like lightning resistance on another one, and you're like, well, I don't want that lightning resistance, I want it to be cold resistance instead. Like, what's the big deal about switching them up? I mean, part of it is the thematic link that they do have. I do think that's important too. Good evening, Mike. Good evening. It's my imaginary top hat. Can you say / do you know if we will see anything outside of bug fixes / optimizations before season 5? I think there'll be very little other than bug fixes and optimizations between now and season 5 at this point. We're out of the point where we're making major material changes to the patches, and we're more into trying to make sure things ain't broke. Development on season 5 is well underway. Looking great. When can I start sharing? I feel like we're still early in season 4, but I mean, Derek, when can I start showing stuff? You probably don't actually know what you do yourself. That's fine. But we'll figure it out. Here's some concept art we can do for next time. Point squirrels! Come on, boys, this way to victory! Bah, cold pen, bah. Aaron, you're not getting anything now. Sorry. All right. Has anyone asked about free to play yet? But yes. The conversation's come up a few times. About the game ages ago, but I feel like free to play would be some fresh air into the player base. It's possible. The big question I always have is, okay, we do free to play. Hypothetically, what has been the historical free-to-play monetization model that tends to go with that? I'm not sure it would end up being overall positive. It's possible. I don't know. The conversation's come up many times over the years. Not so much recently, but like when we were first setting things up, you know, it was a huge conversation initially. Like right from the get-go, we always wanted to do a box price. But, you know, like lots of stuff we wanted to do right from the start has changed. All right, more questions, Mike. Keep answering. If possible, could you please provide your stance on this question? One as a dev and one as a player. Do my best. What do you think about the idea of merging sets together? Merging sets together, let me read more. The idea I generally have is too long to put here, but essentially you can get both set bonuses on one item with RNG combination of the two set item stats. Yeah, so I think there's I feel like if we were going to do this, we would simply just do it through the reforging. Like we can already do set shards and reforging set items, and like we already can like build your own set item sort of thing, and just like put 2 set shards on it, boom, there you go, it's done. Like if we were gonna do that, that's the way we would do it, I'm pretty sure, not through like actually taking 2 set items and merging them together. I think the main reason for this is the specific stats that are on a set item are pretty carefully curated, and a lot of times the stats are there specifically because they work well with other pieces in the set, or the set bonus, or each other. And as soon as you start taking out parts of that, it starts to make the items themselves unravel a bit. So really specific pieces would have to come across. We have to pick like 1 or 2 or 3 affixes that would always go in this combination process. And I think having it be randomly combining each other would be would come up with like duds of items really frequently. Yeah, I think it's also just like a gigantic, like the current tooltips are not prepared to handle that at all. Like this is one of the smallest sets when expanded, and it's like a full height thing when it's fully expanded like that. It's probably the smallest one. Maybe not the smallest, but definitely up there. And so I think if we were going to do it, we'd probably be more interested in doing it from the Reforge system, because it's already there, because it already has that like essence of the item picked out on which affixes are going to come over in the affix shards themselves. Having said that, that's not the way the set system works, and we'd have to kind of overhaul the functionality of it to make that even work. I think it also would put too much pressure on the item tooltips as well. So like we need an item tooltip rework first, which we're working on. The complexity is pretty high there as well, and sometimes item like not like power budget, but like cognitive load budget for like parsing what an item is can get a little wacky when there's so much stuff on it. And having like a Reforged set item with like 2 different set affixes on it, so there's like all the set bonuses that can go with it as well, it kind of gets out of hand. So I think the way we tried to approach something like this, more so of being able to get more sets equipped simultaneously, was specifically through the Legends Entwined ring, the Primordial ring. And I fully understand that adding that ring makes this is probably like the catalyst for this suggestion, because all of a sudden you're looking at situations where you're like, I want to put 2 affixes on a single ring and have it be able to like double up as partials for sets, and then make the Legends Entwined set bonuses even better. Yeah.
Good.
I could see it being something we might consider in the future, but right now I know it's something we've talked about fairly recently, as recently as the creation of the Legends Entwined ring. In fact, this came up quite a lot, and I know it's not something we're planning, at least right now. But I do agree it would be cool. Hey Mike, with the current state of balance being maybe not as healthy as could potentially be, have you guys considered doing another poll or going back on the decision to not do mid-season balance changes? What are your opinion on that? I think that if we were going to do another poll, we would want to do that in like the lead up to the season. So I think we would need to do that like, hype week's happening. That's when you drop that poll, not right now. If we were going to do another poll on it, the polls in general, I do really like having done the polls, and I do really like doing them in general. I think that it sometimes provides. I think it's hamstrung us a little bit in certain situations. I wish we were able to be a little bit more flexible on it. And it's not a hard fast rule. It's not like we've vowed to never do it ever, but we did say that we would avoid it at best. We try really hard not to do it ever, sort of thing. And I think we've managed to stick to it, which is great. At the same time, I think I would prefer to be able to make balance changes mid-season. I don't know if there's like a world where that happens anytime soon, but I'm very open to it myself. I'd be shocked. I'll put it this way: I'd be really shocked if we did it for season 5. Like if we made any sort of significant balance changes, well, at least significant nerfs pre season 6 or pre season 5. I know where we are in time, but not in space. I only know one at a time. Oh, that was really close. That was really close, I think. Yeah, we're doing this. We are gonna need one of these bad boys. We do have enough for it right now, actually. Kind of tempted just to grab it. Yeah, I'm gonna grab it so I've got it.
Until next time, traveler.
What about adding a COO? Oh, missed one. When do you think dungeons will get some love? Monos have had all the fun currently. Yeah, I think when we figure out how to do procedural generation in monos, they'll be getting some love. I think that'll be the catalyst. Proper procedural generation in dungeons. What about adding COF token that can be consumed as a 1-for-1 token for prophecy exchange? 1-for-1 token that can be exchanged. Globally, ideally removing the need for players to worry about being inefficient and care too much about corruption pushing and less about enjoying a build. Adding a COF token that can be consumed as a 1-for-1 token for prophecy exchange. Drops globally. I don't know what the token would do. I'm confused. Mike is confused. I think there's so we've been looking a lot at COF in general, and we're pretty interested in like reducing the busy work, and I think a lot of that means we're going to be changing a lot of the flow and the interface and what you use favor for and what you use like everything for, and the functionality, the way it works in the system, like when things drop, what's going to drop, how you decide what's going to drop, all these sorts of things are being looked at in COF in general. So I think because we're making such a big change in COF, I think maybe putting like, and we're not quite ready to talk about, a lot of the changes are locked in and we're not quite ready to talk about them yet. It's part of the problem. So if you'd like to submit a suggestion on potential COF changes, my advice is putting in not like ways to fix a problem, but ways that you how do I describe this? The function, I guess the thing you're trying to do that's hard to do, like whatever's where you're getting stuck.
You disturb the silence.
Trying to just keep it high level would be more useful at the moment. But I know that's not. Hi Mike, happy Friday. Happy Friday to you too. I am about to die in this omen, I'm pretty sure. Because it is real cramped. There's just nowhere to go. Nowhere to go. Nothing at all. Nothing. Stupid. Hey Mike, happy Friday. Are there plans to implement a price check option for Merchant's Guild rather than manually inputting tiers? So there's kind of a pseudo price check thing right now where you can slap an item in and it will like match to that item a little bit anyways. So there's a little bit of that, but I assume you mean like a price check outside of the monolith, or outside of the Merchant's Guild, where you're like out in the field and you're like, I wonder what this would price check for in the Merchant's Guild here, instead of, so I can know if I can just drop it on the ground, sort of thing. That's something we'd love to add. I know it's something that's been talked about a bunch and brainstormed a bunch, and there's a lot of limitations on that, mostly like technical limitations on going to the Merchant's Guild database too frequently, especially outside of that zone, and there's lots of things that have to be considered to make this function nicely. Quite often the next step from that is like, okay, well, if you can check it here, why not have a loot filter rule where you're like, only show me things that are worth more than X gold? And it's not something like that. I think would be problematic. All right, clarifying. There's a typo in the clarification. Okay, yes, thank you. Clarifying the last question about the CUF token. The CUF totem, token, would be a global drop like a pair of bee gloves. Okay. When you went to pick a prophecy opposed to using favor, you would use a CUF token, kind of like a dungeon key. Two reasons for the favor connection to XP. I found the game becomes less about enjoying the game and more about efficiency, and the other is cap of favor. Some just forget about it and can go past 99. I see what you're saying. So it's basically just analogous to the merchant token, where you say like, okay, I want to you just hand in the token instead of paying favor in a specific individual instance for selecting a prophecy. The system's changing to a degree that this suggestion is good, but will not make sense in the new system. I'm sorry. I feel like Shadowrend with a bow is so clunky. A little, I think, but I'm really enjoying it. And there's lots of ways to change how it flows. So you can make it so you don't move, or you move back, or you move forwards. You can manipulate the feel of it quite a bit. I believe it would feel much better if the shadows went forward instead of yourself. Anything you have talked about EHG or are happy with it? I mean, that's this node right here, right? Sorry, that's this node right here. So yeah, we talked about it and we implemented it. There's also a pair of boots that does it too. Would it be possible in the future to make it that you will be able to slam an item in Temporal Sanctum per dungeon tier? For example, tier 2 is 2 slams. That's something we could do. I'd really like to see a bigger difference per tier. Like, so right now the only thing you get from going up higher tiers is being able to slam higher level items. So I quite often find myself when I'm going to do a Temporal Sanctum is I look at the item and I'm like, what's the lowest I can do to slam this? And I just go to the lowest one possible. And so I really like the idea of being rewarded for doing higher tiers. Right now there is a reward. Tier 1 you can't pick your slam at all. So there's precedent for having material rewards that are better on higher tiers that are to do with the slam. Wielding a sword, smash it. Is Sandbox mode coming to last Epoch? Nothing like that planned at the moment. I don't know about you. Personally, every time I found the developer room in like an Elder Scrolls game, or you install 80 mods so that you've got every everything in the game, and or you turn on cheats and you start doing stuff, or you open up the hero editor and you start doing stuff, and it's like 2 days later the game's closed. It doesn't open back up again. That double havoc? Woo! We take those. Can we please? Skip one. Whoops. Would it be possible to add a feature where we can have a better idea of what our DPS is on the boss dummy? It is possible. We do have the technology. We're not planning on adding significantly improved DPS tracking for real applications such as boss dummies. Not on the list at the moment. It's not impossible. Like it's something that we can do. But we specifically have chosen not to currently. I know that might be frustrating.
He remembers.
And like everything, if you really want to see it, like stuff in the suggestions channel gets traction all the time. This one has, I know this one has been put in there a few times. But there's lots of stuff. There's a whole host of things that we've in the past been like, no, never doing that. Eventually they happen. Game changes over time. I think that's good. I think that's really good that there's things that we're like, this doesn't fit the game right now, and in 2 years or even 6 months or 5 years, you know, like as the game changes, there's a different environment for those things to exist. I think that's good. Or things have to get removed for the same reason too. There was a our original passive system before we had this was a square grid. I gotta get drawing back on my screen. I need to get like an application or something to do it, because I miss it. It was a square grid, and you'd start in the center and you'd put points along out 4 diagonal axes. And as you built out points on each axis, the connection of the like the shape that was formed by drawing a line from the furthest point on each one of the axes overlapped a bunch of nodes, and all the nodes that overlapped were the nodes you had access to. Basically the same thing as this line advancing up, just a straight, like you need this many points in here to get it. It was basically that in like a 2D instead of a effectively 1D grid. I love that system. It was too complicated for the game. It was not good at the time. I'd love to bring it back in like, I don't know, some endgame system where you interact with it like more frequently and reset it more frequently. I think it would be a lot of fun.
Easy. Too easy.
Where it's like maybe it's dictating how you're accessing certain dungeon effects or something. I don't know. I think there's potential there for it in the end-game system still. Like that UI I think was fun and interesting, and yeah, that's one of the ones that's been sitting in the back of my mind forever that I'd love to bring back. I've just got reminded about it a couple days ago. Can we please import export stash settings for next season? I don't think we're doing an import export system for next season. We are very significantly looking at what I'm going to dub the stash layout problem at the start of each season, whereby you have to rebuild your stash layout every season, and it's frustrating, and we totally agree. And we are very much actively working on a way to fix this problem. Specifically an import export system, I don't think is what we're going to land on. But you know, this is something that it is definitely a problem, and we are definitely working on it. Like the dream system that we're not going to get to next season, but the dream system is like a and this is something we've talked about before with loot filters, and I still love to do this with loot filters too. the dream system is like a you have like a browser in the game where you open up your stash, and there's like a stash layout browser, and people have uploaded their layouts with like name and a description. This is actually why loot filters have a description field, is because we had talked about doing this, and people could like, you know, upvote specific things where you're like, oh, this is specifically a Merchant's Guild stash layout that has tabs for specific things that'll sell well or something like that, or oh, this is a you know, specifically a COF layout or a layout that I'm specifically going to be doing a ton of things for a specific build, and like I'm really focusing on Primordial stuff this season, or I'm really focusing on whatever this season, sort of thing. And I think there's room for a lot of cool stuff to go there if we were going to do like the dream version of it. But really, I think just like a basic even just a small system so you can just carry forward what you did last time would be incredible. One of the big things that I think any sort of importing system requires is, and I don't, there's a very large back-end change that needs to happen before this is even possible functioning, is a mass reorganization, an automated mass reorganization, which I think is a sort of a required system before the layout saving and loading in whatever version that looks like in the end. Before that can exist, I think a mass reorganization system is necessary, whereby you can press, you're in your stash, and like this is a pie in the sky feature still, it's something we'd love to do, but you open your stash, you push a button, and it like gives you a warning, and it's like, warning, you're gonna reorganize your whole stash for you, and it basically pulls everything out of your stash, and then one at a time just like auto adds things back to your stash and goes through the automatic distribution system where it like checks the stash pad priorities and just puts everything back in. Like having that would be incredible. I think that's almost necessary before we add in a loading system. Because there's that moment when you're like, you play through, you're on your first season, let's say, ever, as a new player, and you're playing through, and you've got 40 tabs that you've bought, and they're all organized the way you want them to, but they're not even remotely similar to what like the optimal way to do it is. And you go and you're like, I'm gonna see what people are doing with their stash layouts, and I'm gonna download a stash layout and apply it and see what happens. And you do it, and great, but all of a sudden your entire stash is so completely borked in the layout that you have to manually pull everything out and put it all back in. That would suck. It would take forever. Would introduce a lot of duping and lost items. Yeah, it would work like a transaction, if you know any database stuff, where it would be able to put it back to the way it was before if something went wrong, and would all happen as a single operation. The big change that's required when I mentioned at the very start, there's a big backend change that needs to happen to make it be possible. It's to make that functionality way faster, way more reliable, less error prone, and database cost wise free by comparison to what it is now. Do you feel you guys got the stat conversion corrupt right? Some seem much stronger than others. Yeah, I think there's some of them are significantly better than others right now, for sure. I think the fact that people are using them and finding them interesting and fun is great. There's room for some balancing tweaks, I think. I don't think that's a controversial statement to make. Does EHG ever have plans to shift to seasonal gatekeeping content? I think this means like you can only play the new seasonal mechanic if you play a seasonal character, and you can't play it in Legacy. That's what this is asking about. I believe it's been said that potentially there may be content that doesn't get released into Legacy at the same time as it does to seasonal release. I hope I'm remembering wrong, but I don't think I am. It is, so we've left the door open, is what we've done. We've said, like, we don't plan on doing this. It's not the way we're setting up systems right now. But we don't want to say we don't want to close the door off. We don't want to say like we'll never do it. We don't want to say this is every single thing no matter what, because there might be a system that shows up where we're like we really don't know if this is going to be fun or not. And having it be locked into legacy forever immediately might be a mistake. I think there's also potentially a problem where we've talked about this in the past too, where there's too many systems. So having a system that we know is only going to be there, is only going to stick around for one season, it's just going to be temporary. Having that just exist on seasonal and not exist on legacy might be an option for that. It's possible. We don't have any systems like that planned right now. We don't have any systems on the horizon that are designed that way. Nothing's looking like it's going to do that at all. You know, it's one of those things that we're really just leaving it there as a possibility in case we come up with a reason why it's necessary in the future. We've never had a reason to do it. I've never heard a pitch of a reason to do it. Yeah. Yeah, we're just going for it. Let's see what we get. I don't want to ascend some items. We can probably do that. We're not got a single key yet. We did get a key at some point. Let's go. Okay. Right after this, we're going. Mike, you ready? Yep. Good, because you're going. Great when the spin-off's better than the original, eh? How is balancing determined? So many ways. It seems some classes are overly loved by devs, Falcon or Blade Dancer, Paladin, just others are just there, and minimal effort is made to keep made to John Forger, for example. There isn't a intentional method by which we say, okay, this class is going to be more powerful than this class, or anything like that happens. Sometimes there are not too distant horizon plans that we'll look at and say, like, well, that thing's getting this new thing next season. Maybe we'll just kind of leave it alone for a little bit right now, and we'll come back to it so that we're not making so we can really focus on ABC, and because we know that XYZ's getting a specific change or a new skill or a new something next season. That happens a fair bit, and a couple times that's actually happened where we had planned it to be next season and it got pushed. And that was really unfortunate. That's happened a couple times. So it's like been 2 seasons out in the cold, and we're like, we should have just done it. But hindsight's 2020. All right. Runes of corruption. Runes of corruption. Pick everything up. Oh gosh, have an overly full inventory. Let's just start shattering some big things we're not going to use. Yeah, damage over time is probably not going to sell. I don't know. This is part of the problem is I need to learn what's going to sell. As I sell something that's smash things, just smash these. Yeah. Okay. It's fine. It's fine. Don't worry. Why are poison build archetypes unique? Why are poison build archetype unique, under supported, or under leveled compared to bleed and ignite? I don't have it's like a specific intentional like reason. Like there's no conspiracy against poison or anything like that. Poison does have the natural ability to scale really well in multiplayer because it does also improve everyone else's poison damage on that target. I think sometimes there's a little bit of a fear that maybe it can get a little out of control too quickly. We have put some safeguards in place recently against that, so it's less of an issue than it ever was. I think it's more of a matter of just like there's been some sweet bleed and ignite items that have come out recently. I think it's as simple as that. There's just been some really sweet ones. Fine. Can't help myself. Okay, we are going to start with, because we have a... We're gonna start with the belt. We're gonna start with the belt. We've got a 2 LP belt. We've got this. We need the mana regeneration is there. We need that. We've been struggling with mana regeneration. It's got a bunch of awesome other stuff on it. We don't really care what else we get. We don't need the potion cleanse very much because we are getting so much. We are getting such frequent cleansing from shift. But we do ward on potions, so a little bit more. That's nice. Health and endurance always good. But mana regen's what we're really after there. A high roll, T7. What we want. We do have more forging potential. Can we do anything else with that? We could try. Nah. Let's just go. Let's just go. We're doing it. It's low level. It's level 9. It's level 9. Easy. Easy. That's what I'm talking about. I don't do this. The tier 1. Tier 1's the trap. I'd love to see as well tier 1 not needing a key to even get in. I think that'd be a big plus. The set merge stemmed from other comments that sets are subpar, and I was thinking of ideas to add more value to them, such as adding a last beat set helm and Villatra's the bear helm and the Villatra's helm, I think, or last B, doesn't matter. If you have 2 set bonuses and then add cleaver in the mix, I'm sure you could see the powers possibilities from this. Yeah, choice to have RNG stat transfer was twofold. 1, a chase item for players who want to burn out to be burnouts in the other power creep check. Well, it doesn't stop a power creep check at all, because you still just look at the maximum potential.
Epoch, I will have it.
I swear I pressed it earlier. Well, never mind. Earlier here. Died after I switched. Got it. Report bug. Julra killed me. Bad Julra. Oy vey. What am I doing? It's all right. We got question and answer. That's the best part of this. So it's all right. I might, cause somebody told me the other day you guys might be working on a character sheet rework. This is your weekly reminder. Good golly, thank you. Yes, that shall happen first. Also, follow-up question to the mid-season balance changes. Thank you for your answer. How do you think the poll has impacted the team's development process and the game itself? I think it's I think it kind of has let us focus on the next season a little bit more, and like once the existing seasons like kind in I want to say once the existing season's in, I guess like maintenance mode or something like that, it's sort of like let us dedicate those resources to the next thing instead of having to try to manage like updated balance changes split. So a big problem in development, something like this, like a live development cycle, is that the if you make balance changes to what's on live right now, you can't do those necessarily. You can't necessarily do those same balance changes on the you can't have them automatically propagate to the existing development build necessarily. Some of them you can, some of them works totally fine, but you have to one by one go through and make sure that each one of those things still makes sense in the new in the new dev build of the other things you've changed. So sometimes you are you make a change in the live version, but because you've already made other changes in the dev build that are better changes than the one that's on live, but you couldn't make them because they're reliant on another system, you have to then go back and undo the changes you just did on live on development to then allow for the new changes there as well. And so I think it's impacted by just giving us more time to work on the actual game instead of like as much bookkeeping and organizational stuff, basically. What are your thoughts on touching skill tree nodes of places that don't have a lot of traffic? I'm thinking like Reaper Form has so many nodes that are unused, like Reaper's Ascendance, that I wish was able to be taken. We can probably give some insight on why that specific node is. Like, what's that note? Gain a stack of Reaper's Ascendance every 5 seconds. You spend Reaper Form, which grants you increased spell damage. You can have up to 25 stacks of Reaper's Ascendance at a time. Is it behind something kooky? Seems very reasonable to me. I'm not sure why that's not taking more. Is he just not powerful enough? Oh, it's increased damage, not more damage. Probably all it is. Dang. I want to ascend some boots. That's what I want to do. I think. One of the key. Can't believe I did that. Just trying to just cut it to the last second. So simple. Now we get no slam. No slam. Maybe I'll buy a ring and we'll slam that at the end. How far are we? 15 minutes? Yeah, might buy a ring. Piggybacking on a previous question. Oh, sorry. Old skill tree nodes. We go back and look at them quite frequently, and we'll continue to do so. There's too many to look at all of them every season. Piggybacking on a previous question about Temporal Sanctum tiers, what if tiers 3 and 4 meaningfully modify the critical slam chance, still based on level, of course. Yeah, I don't know. It's such a low chance already. Here we go. It's such a low chance already that I'd be very hesitant to do it. Where it feels like it's trying to say like, yeah, you can do this. It's going to be great. Come do it. And then it's like, well, it's still basically nothing sort of thing. I don't hate the idea in general. I think it's quite cool. I would like to see LP caps on uniques, so it kind of flies in the face of that a little bit. Congratulations, I love this game. No one pay attention to what's happening on screen, by the way. I'm definitely not getting help because I'm terrible and need to do something with my gear at all. Thank you. Good God. Should I switch to Blade Dancer? All right. Come on. Congratulations, love the game. Thank you. I have a quality of life suggestion. Could you improve the clarity on what shows which stash tab is active? Yes, we're working on it. The current periodic height is a bit frustrating. Yeah, the whole stash system UI is getting completely overhauled. Hey Mike, new player, does LESSF have increased drop rates or is it normal drop rates? It's completely normal. There's no difference in SSF compared to solo character found, solo account found, and normal challenges and hardcore challenges all have identical drop rates to each other. There's no modifications. You can move a character from solo character found to solo account found. You can move a character from solo account found to normal. As soon as that's in place, you can't have increased drops on them, basically. We do have the Circle of Fortune Merchant's Guild item factions, and the Circle of Fortune one is designed to be taken as a solo character. The big fear of seasonal gatekeeping is a potential risk of never getting to try an item, or more specifically a build, from lack of an item. Not getting to try new content would suck, but not getting the ability to try a build is devastating to me. I agree, and that's like one of the main reasons we've never done that before. All these high corruption rogues make alt and flooded the ladder of other classes with Confluence of Oblivion. Are there any plans to change this? Also, is there ever going to be a separate ladder for COF/MG? Not planning a separate COF/MG ladder. I think it's a little frustrating having the ladders flooded like that. We're changing the way that works a little bit, so it won't be as big of an issue. The bar to set a new position on the ladder right now is complete a single echo, and I think that's part of the problem right there. And so I'd like to change that, and it naturally will change a lot just because of other stuff. Endurance, we'll take it. It's fine. Not what we were hoping for the most, but mana regen is gorgeous. You want to do another one for me? And I have a level 77 unique. Another one? Huh? Thanks, buddy. I'll corrupt them both right at the end. Hi, I really want to ask if you're satisfaction with season, if you are satisfied with season 4 overall. Yeah, big time. Loving season 4. What's your opinion on player retention? I think that there's, the information I get on player retention is like through these questions on stream. I like haven't looked at them all season, which I know sounds ridiculous. I'm gonna start looking at them a lot more though. It's something that I think is gonna be important for me to be paying more attention to coming up here, and so yeah, I'm gonna start getting into the habit of doing that, and contextualizing the things that I'm looking at based on that probably a little bit more. Like my main thought is here to showing off with multiple characters now, are we? My thought more right now is like make an awesome game, make an awesome fun gameplay experience, and I think that there is I think we've had a huge step forward in that category. I think the feedback we've had with regards to just like fun this season has been a huge step forward, and I think that's the right way to do it. First fun first, and I think we'll see a lot more like retention and just players in general happening, especially as we get up to Elio, which is the big thing. Not risking it. Thank you. This one. Out of 40 gold. Mike, you know how things work, don't you? You played this game before, right, Mike? Like the Farside Turtle, why not make dungeons like the Reforge Bench or the Temporal Sanctum just engage infinite times instead of a set number of times, especially the Temporal Sanctum, from how often it needs to be used? Having this like keys equal reroll, I think does give a sense of like having those items drop means something a little bit more, which I think is a really big bonus. Okay. Got time for let's do one more. Let's do one more. Come on, one more. Need to gamble. Mike is corrupting needles or needles not giving extra gaze or not shattering anymore an intended thing. I'm shocked you can corrupt them at all. That's hilarious. I think that was just like a thing we didn't even account for. The item's level 64. I think it's probably what he's... I need to zone in and out. Okay. No, it's not intended. I don't think they should be corruptible, really. Are there or were there ideas of creating a third item faction similar to COF? Say an archaeology faction where we get items excavating ruins and stuff, and RNG becomes a neutral part of the game, and we would have an economy revolving in every faction and ground. Like having like a COF alternative, but then having like merchant skill be available to both of them. It does completely undermine the entire system by doing that, but we did talk about things like that. I think if we're going to add new item acquisition from gameplay direct systems, it would be as either a neutral faction that's not involved as a mutually exclusive version of COF or MG. So it'd be able to be it and both of them, or it would just incorporate into COS passives. Are there or were there ideas of creating a... Oh, I already said, sorry. Wow, that was embarrassingly fast. Embarrassing for me, really. Just only. All right, let's find. Is Bofist damage the only thing we really care about? Yes. And we're up to 50. What's the closest to 46? 246s. 46, 46. Why did I just put health on kill and not something that might actually be useful? Oh, what am I doing? Just reroll it. Chance to slow. No, reroll it. Poison. No, reroll it. Bleed. Better than nothing? Bah. It's okay, we're not gonna hit that, doesn't matter. Oh yeah, it is 1 LP. It really doesn't matter. Oh, crit! Hit it! No. Okay. How do you feel the Temporal Sanctum holds up to the corruption system? It feels like the system wasn't designed for players to chase their ideal corruption. However, in practice, people will. Some corruptions are even mandatory for certain builds like Shuriken cast on bow crit, leading to maybe too much time spent looking for Sanctum loading screens instead of actually playing. Do you have any ideas on how that could be improved? I mean, I think in general, the dungeons need to be more fun. I think they need to be more engaging and more rewarding to actually do them. The charms were a great way to sort of like alleviate that a little bit. But I still want to make them dungeons just more fun and rewarding in themselves. Like, yeah, I think that's sort of the baseline fix there. Really wants me to do bleed. T5 bleed. Not mad at that. Just damage more. It's just 4% more damage. So that's an upgradable call. Yeah. An upgrade. Little bit less flat. Start with a worse base, but still, we'll take that. Okay. Come on. One day I'll corrupt the quiver. I feel like my luck's been real bad. Hi Mike, how does HG balance new additions to the game when those new additions are added on top of systems with fundamental problems? What's the philosophy when trying to add new things while also trying to fix others? As someone that played every gamer since 8.5, I don't feel that the game became more complex, but it did add a lot of clutter. Endgame not streamlined at all and is riddled with small details that go against LE identity being more accessible game. I mean, I hear what you're saying, that the fact there are more systems now, they're not necessarily adding more depth. I would probably argue that they're more accessible in general. It's so hard to tell though, because it's impossible to go back and like actually look at it. Like you can go back and look at it what it is, but you can't go back to a point where you didn't actually know what was going on, where you can't forget it yourself. I think that a lot of the changes to Monolith in general that we're looking at, like for coming up here, is going to have a lot of. I think it's going to increase the depth and decrease the complexity a little bit. I think we're gonna manage to go both. It's fine. Extra potion slots fine. We use so many, we don't use them enough anyways. We're hoping to stay at max health because using ward, not a great corruption, but better than ruining the item. Max values. Fine. It's already pretty well rolled, I think. Do one more. We good. We good. I think we're good on the corruptions. We got a decent one, a real bad one, a whatever one, and a whatever one. Way better than we did last week. Way better than we did last week. Rounded a couple final questions here as we're finishing up. Any updates on new offhand items like Great Shield or Uber Catalyst for casters? Not specifically. I think we would like if you're doing Great Shield. I think that's like a two-handed Great Shield. That's like a two-handed shield. Like Uber Catalyst. I feel like that's just. I don't think there's a new like base item types for these things. I think we just put those in the existing item types really. If we're gonna do something like that, and we're always adding new items to the game. Follow up on the question about factions. Is there a plan to create rival factions, like helping one means alienating the other? Maybe we do have the functionality for that. It's not, I think, something we've planned really. Players get to choose between the benefits and cost of following one faction at the expense of the other. You kind of already have to pick one or the other with Merchant's Guild and COF. In order to not like make switching. We want to have the release valve of switching be possible. And if you're like actively worse at the other one, and you have to like claw your way back from a negative, it makes switching feel really terrible. It's probably unlikely there. But you know, maybe the functionality is there for it if we wanted it. On the dungeon topic, I feel like since we need to corrupt 50 of the same item in quick succession, having to interact with the doors, portals, and keys for 1 second boss kill is very tedious. Regardless of dungeon content that might be worth doing in the future, legendaries aside. Yeah, I'm talking more like going back to a world where you're actually doing the dungeon itself fully, and like percentage of time spent is engaging in the dungeon. If you're doing 50 of the same item in quick succession, that is an extreme outlier, I think. And maybe I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure that is an extreme outlier scenario, though. And not to say it's not, like, useful, but, like useful to consider. But I think having the gameplay be more interesting. Yeah, I don't think let's go look at who has it. Oh, Lizard. That makes a little more sense coming from someone who's like going really hard. I could see a world where there was a like here's a key to redo another one sort of thing, where you still have to pay the key for each reroll, each slam. I think that would be an important part. And on that terrible disappointment, it's probably time to end. I hope you had fun. I know I did. I'll be back same time, same place next week. We will have if I did not answer your question, I apologize. It's not intentional. Please head on over to our Discord. We've got an Acid Devs channel where I do my best to answer up any follow-up questions there. I think that's about it. I think the subathon's still going, so let's go say hi. Have a great day, everybody. Drink lots of water. Get out and enjoy the sun. We'll see you around.